may know that we started the Global Security Forum about 8 years ago. And we started it mainly because of one person, and that person was Paul Buddy Bucha. When Paul called anybody, they came. General Petraeus, General Allen, General Austin, and on and on and on. They showed up because Paul called. And because of that, we were able to start the Global Security Forum. And now it has grown to a nationwide, although I am notorious for having a very big voice. So it's grown to a nationwide forum where we have people coming from all over the country and zooming in from all over the world. Sadly, we lost Paul on July 31st. And so we are dedicating this year's Global Security Forum to him and his honor. And we are so lucky to have Chinsbel Bucha with us tonight. We are also inaugurating a lecture in honor of Paul. And when we were thinking about what we should do and who we should invite, we thought, who lives their life like Paul, receives an honor for some of the most courageous, brave things that you can do. And indeed, it is the highest honor that we offer here in the United States, despite what some people might say. So, sorry? Yes, it did die. But can you hear me? Am I loud enough? And so one of the people that we thought of is someone who lives their life just like Paul, a fellow Medal of Honor recipient, who himself did a most courageous, brave act of courage. So we are so lucky to have with us tonight Florent Groberg. I'm going to welcome Flo.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. Listen, it's what a privilege and an honor to be here. Y'all hear me, right? When I received a call in regards to coming here this evening to have say a few words, in essence, to be in the position that Paul would be in, it was a massive honor. The fact that you would even mention my life, the way I live my life, to be compared to him is something that's just probably unrealistic at this moment, because it's really hard to walk in his footsteps. But the reality is after I received the Medal of Honor in 2015, you, as a new recipient, you tend to gravitate towards very specific ones. And in my mindset, I had the idea of there's a couple. I want to gravitate towards a younger recipient just because I think they're going to understand where I'm coming from, war on terror. And then I was always looking for guidance. Thank you. Check, check, mic check. We're good? I always love doing that. And then I was looking for guidance as well from our older generation, so the Woody Williams of this world. And Paul de facto became one of my inspirations. One, he was a good-looking guy, and he was a hell of a speaker. Heck of a speaker. Second, it's the things that you don't hear about those individuals publicly. It's when you start walking through a room and you watch how people react to that individual in that room. You listen to the sidebar chats and what they say about him. And then it's also what they're asked to go do. Paul is one of those individuals that we wanted to represent us as Medal of Honor recipients on the society because he was a good person. That's right. A lot of leaders would call upon him. He called, they would come. That's because he earned that respect. And you look at actions of Medal of Honor recipients. There's stories that it's Hollywood, right? When I received a call from President Obama about receiving the medal, I thought they were crazy because I don't think that anything that I've done in my service is worthy of that honor. And I think every single one of the Medal of Honor recipients would tell you the same thing. But what Paul did, he's one of the ones I studied in 1968, in April of 1968, is absolutely ridiculous, right? The idea of you pin down the leadership that he was a captain, what he demonstrated, the courage, the integrity, the sacrifice, low crawling for hundreds of meters to take out a bunker so that he could, save his buddies, and then spending overnight and using his flashlights. If you have ever been in combat, When it's pitch black, the last thing you want to do is use your flashlight because you're automatically a target. So he could direct the ambulances to go support and save some of his brothers. It's the mindset that he had of, I'm going to do everything that I can to put my life on the line and make sure you get to come home. But then you come back, you meet this guy. And he's one of the few where I just sit there. Another one's Britt Slabinski. And I'm like, there's no way you were that big of a badass. You're too sweet. There's no way. Like, you're too nice, right? Like, there's no way you did some of the things that you've done. And then he reminds me of what service is all about. And why, as an immigrant, I fell in love with this country. The greatest honor I've ever had in my life was the opportunity, the honor, and the responsibility of wearing this uniform and serving alongside some of the finest men and women, and then going to war with them, being led by them and leading some of them. It reminds me that when you put on that uniform, it doesn't matter if you were born in France or if you were born in Compton, California, in Belfast, Maine. Doesn't matter if your first language was English, French, Spanish. Doesn't matter if you're gay, straight. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or independent. None of that matters. What matters is who you are in that uniform and the people next to you. I fell in love with the military because it taught me the sense that even though that individual is probably not someone I would ever associate myself on the outside, I'm willing to die for them today. It took my thoughts, it took my judgments and put them aside. And it made me realize that there's something way more important of what my own personal opinion is. It forced me to learn about other culture. It forced me to understand other people's views because I was putting myself on the line every single day for their safety and make sure they got to come home. And there's only one way that you do this. It's through love of brotherhood and sisterhood. So it doesn't matter if you're sweet or if you think you're a badass. Reality is there's very few individuals in this world that when the bullets are flying or the bombs are bursting and all hell's breaking loose and you need someone to go out there and do something, there's very few Paul Buchas. And I promise you, I'm not a Paul Bucha. I'm not. He was unique. He was a leader. He was a friend. He was a friend of our nation. He's literally one of the best of the best. So for that, I wanted to pay a quick tribute to you and to him because you are the representation of what's best in our country. And maybe a little hand right for that for you. It's fitting that I'm here as well because, I didn't speak English till I was 12 years old, and I came here, I'm adopted, and I came here, I've been given every chance to be successful. I had an uncle killed by a terrorist organization called the GIA in 1996 in North Africa in Algeria. He was beheaded, dismembered, put in a box, and sent back to my grandfather as a testament of what they were willing to do. Why to my grandfather? Well, my grandfather in Algeria was a prisoner of war in a French Indochine for 3 years, and after that, he was one of the catalysts for the Algerians' independence against the French. And so he was really well known as a doctor in his little village in Capt, and he was really respected. And this terrorist organization came in and said, we don't care how well respected you are, how much people love you, this is what we'll do to your family. Welcome to Terrorism 101, right? What do we know about terrorism? It doesn't work. Does not work, never has, never will. What it does is it takes good common people, it bands them together to go then accomplish one objective, which is to destroy and remove that evil from the world. Welcome to the United States of America after 9/11. Overnight, there's in recent history, there are two events that changed the course of the world that we live in. Well, for the United States, be very clear, okay? Because there are a lot of things happening for the United States. One, December 7, 1941, and the other one was 9/11, 2001. 1941, one thing that I learned through my history readings and talking to my family and being around some of the most amazing individuals and minds who have listened to history and just talk. An example would be General Petraeus. You have a conversation with General Petraeus all day and all night about this. Is that this country had some issues at that moment, right? We were not in military power. I think in 1937, 1938, we were ranked 33rd in the world in terms of military power. That was not our investments. What we were really good at doing is making cars. We had a lot of cars and pretty darn good cars. Overnight, our country changed course. Overnight, everyone banded together with one common theme, destroy this evil from the world? How dare you come attack us? How dare you kill our own people? How dare you do it in such a sneaky way? We stayed out of it. We didn't want anything to do with it. And then you just took a shot at us? Okay. What's the saying? They woke up a sleeping giant. Reality is we weren't a giant. Yeah, we're big on a map. Right? Yeah, we did show up in the fourth quarter in World War I. That's the truth. Right? When you show up in 1917, that's in the fourth quarter. And guess what? We were the direction we provided the right direction to the end of that war. But this was different. You're talking about a year later, we're in number 2. We're number 2, not just because we had everyone that wanted to volunteer to go serve, right? We were number 2 because every single individual in this country wanted to be a part of that solution. Those car-making factories became places to make tanks, places to make ships. Everyone got their hands involved. That's the thing I fell in love with this country when I came here, is to all our differences, when evil knocks at the door, there is no one else that can pick it up as fast as we can to be part of that solution. But you can't do it alone. You cannot do it alone. We need allies. We need teammates. I'm telling you this because when I was at Microsoft recently, I love the work that we were doing to support national security, but I wanted to do a little bit more. I wanted to be a little bit more direct. And so when General McConville left the Army, retired from the Army, he was Chief of Staff of the Army, he called me and said, "Hey, Flo, this is where I'm going with AE Industrial Partners. Are you interested in joining me?" I said, "I've been talking to him for a year, so this is definitely fitting, sir." He said, we're going to go out there and we're going to be part of that solution. We're going to make sure that when it comes down to national security, we do it right. But I need a partner in doing this. And now we have Secretary McCarthy had joined us as well. It made sense for me because they put this medal around my neck and they call you a hero. This is not mine. This belongs to Command Sergeant Griffin, to Major Gray, to Major Kennedy, and to Reggie Abdel Fattah, USAID. That's their medal. I'm a courier. I represent them to my best of my abilities every single day by just being a good dude, just like Paul, and making sure that I earn it. Those are the 4 guys that died on August 8, 2012 in Assadabad, Afghanistan. Those are the guys that I could not bring home. And so I live with that reality every single day. And so for me, when I wake up in the morning, there are a couple things that I definitely want to make sure that I do right. 1, don't piss off my wife. Second, run as fast as I can to the fridge, get some milk so I can go wake up my little one and bring him to school or daycare. But reality is I look at my bracelet and it reminds me of those guys that I lost. And then I challenge myself on this day, every single day I do the same thing. I said, I got to be a better person for national security, because I know for a fact that evil is growing every single day around the world. It's getting stronger. It's getting more vocal. It's getting more bold. And I need to be a part of that solution. Because I know one day that 21-month-old will be 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. And I don't want him to have to make the same choice that I made around that age. I don't want him to look at me and say, "Dad, should I go to war?" Because my response is going to be, do what you feel is right. Fully understanding that that little crazy man that's running around and destroying my house already, if he's got any part of my blood, which he does, obviously, just like my uncle, just like my grandfather, just like my adopted father and all those folks, he's probably going to want to go out there and do it. And so I've come down to a conclusion in my own life, in my own mindset, that I'm going to work the heck out of my life until I can't anymore to make sure that I am part of that solution by partnering with the right teammates, by organizing and working with the right companies to make sure that we protect this nation and our allies to the best of our abilities. So if one day my son has to put on that uniform like I did, like many of us have or are currently, that he's going to have all the tools and assets to be successful on a battlefield. that he's going to have the right technologies and the right products to make the best decision on the battlefield when it matters. That he's going to be surrounded by individuals who have the tools to make decisions to put my son in the right type of circumstances where he gets to come home. That to me is what my life mission is going to be. It's not about August 8, 2012 and serving 2 tours in Afghanistan. It's going to be about, well, that's beautiful. That's like old school ring. You ever listen to those old school, like, man, I had that ring back in like 99. So why does this matter? Well, there is a heck of a lot of history here. There's a heck of a lot of service here. There are people who are committed to national security. We have foreign partners here. Reality is this is the type of summit, this is the type of conference where we get an opportunity to keep sharing and learning and growing and getting smarter, building our network, building allies, and going out there to make a difference. It's really special. And Paul, please, when you open up your book, I think it's right here. I'm going to read you one piece, just the first part. I think it's here, right? He says, I would hope every single minute you're here, you're learning something or we're learning something from you. I mean, these are his words, and they matter. So, listen, I'm not sure how much time I have. I was told that I could, there's probably a question or two. I don't want to take too much of your evening, so I'm not sure how long I've been going. There's no clock, and I don't want to waste everybody's night. I know some people here are Patriots fans or Jets fans, which just sucks for you. I mean, you did have all those wins, the Patriots, so I'm a Bears fan, so please. Giants fans? Yes, sir. I have no comment. I'm not messing with you. I'm not messing with you. But if anyone's got a question about, maybe my views, or I'll give you my personal views. Obviously, they don't reflect anybody else's. If you have a question about being a Medal of Honor recipient, what it's like, or if you have a question about Paul and what, real truth about him, I'm here to answer. So I'll just open up the floor for a second. Does that work?
That's okay.
Okay.
So my question is, how do you feel the average service person is kitted out today compared to when you were in the service? Do we need to do more, or are we in the right place?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I didn't leave that long ago. So I don't think much has changed since. I think, we're in this process right now where we're trying to identify ways to move towards utilizing technology to our benefit with soldiers. As you know, when I was at Microsoft, we worked on the IVAS program in partnership with the United States Army, trying to identify how a HUD display could potentially provide the soldiers on the battlefield with the right type of technology to assist them in making decisions and combating different threats. I think we're looking at AI, ML, machine learning, secure communications, our satellite programs that we're working on, terminal ground stations, all this to really support the way the military can better communicate, share information, identify potential threats, and make sense of it. So technology is a key. The DIBS, the defense side of the house is always looking at different ways to be innovative. But to me, it has to be a partnership with the services. It can't be just industry going out there thinking they have the right solution and then trying to force feed that solution down to our troops and our decision makers. But on the other side, we need to do probably a better job at some point. We'll probably appreciate this with the acquisition process, so that we can get the tools and the right technologies in the hands of our troops a little bit sooner and faster. I'll give you an example. There's a program for drones right now. We have a solution that's ready and deployed. It's been combat tested, but for some odd reason, the actual contract can't be filled until 2027, 2028. Folks, technology moves fast, right? The enemy is not taking their sweet time, right? We have to figure it out because we might be put in a position where, unfortunately, we're going to be 2 steps instead of 1 step behind some of our enemies, and then we're going to have to force our way back into an even battlefield, which we will do, no doubt. That's what we do. We're really good at it, and we'll take the advantage. But why go through this painful process right now when we can be just a little bit better at it on all sides?
That's because you have the hardest defense in the world, DoD defense against innovation.
DoD defense against innovation. Yes, sir.
We're very proud of your service and the fact that you're an immigrant. And what we notice is that the Marines and the Space Force were the only branches of service that met their recruiting goals. Don't you think we could do a better job in letting immigrants come into the military, get exposed to democracy and our values, and fill up the gaps that we're seeing? We have a lot of immigrants right now.
So here, I'll tell you this. I'm an immigrant, and all I had to do was walk my butt into MEPS and sign up. So if they want to join, they can join. This country does not tell you if no. So it's their decision. Second, the Army has met the recruit numbers already. They've pushed their 55,000 number, so they're doing a pretty darn good job. So it's turning around. There's a room for improvement, and they'll tell you that right now. They've gotten really creative with the way they're recruiting our folks, and tell you what, sentiment change, right? And that's just the way we operate, folks. I hear this whole recruiting piece all the time. Reality is, this is not a new concept. You're going to have lows and highs, right? And this is why you have leadership that goes out and they tackle the hard problems. Our nation needs more individuals to put on a uniform and serve it. That's true. But to me, again, I'm not worried about that. If you told me that in probably 1997, 1998, that we had the strongest military and that everybody was pro going join the military, I'd say you're probably BSing me a little bit. Reality is, you go to 2003 and everybody wants to join and serve to defend this nation, to be a part of it. So today, working with the Chief of Staff of the Army, working with the Vice. So the Vice is the individual I was protecting in Afghanistan. So General Mingus was Colonel Mingus at the time of my attack on August 8, 2012. So we're really close. But I told him, I went and met with the Chief, and I brought 9 Medal of Honor recipients on the younger side. And I said, sir, you have us at your disposal for free. We will help you with recruiting. And so we've been working in that space. So I'm pretty knowledgeable in what we're doing. And I'm darn proud of what the Army is doing today. And the Navy and Marines, they have really good commercials. They really do. You got to give it to them. They know, and Marines look good. I mean, they got nice uniforms. So yeah, I'm glad they're making their numbers. But we need more Air Force. This way, my son asked me where to go. I was like, Air Force, Air Force, Air Force. With that, I think that's it. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for your service.
Everyone, please give another round of applause for Flo. Really, what's extraordinary to have you with us. He has gone above and beyond to be with us here tonight. He's only on the ground here in Hartford for a few hours. We are going to break and go back to having a reception, but it's my opportunity to thank all of those that made tonight happen, in our main sponsor, Pratt & Whitney and RTX Company, as well as General Dynamics, IT, thank you, General Yi, KPMG, and Barnes. And there's a whole list of sponsors and supporters, and we thank everybody. Now's your opportunity to get a chance to talk to some of our speakers that will be speaking tomorrow ahead of time. And I'm going to go through the list because so many are with us tonight. We have Ambassador Gina Abercrombie Winstanley. Please say hi to her. We have Lieutenant General Robert Ashley. Excellent, he's over there. We have a very special guest from Romania. We have the Deputy Defense Secretary from Romania, General Bordia. Okay. We have Major General Shane Buzza with us tonight, as well as Major General Matt Easley. I want to shout out to our midshipmen that are visiting us from Annapolis and our moderator tomorrow, Walker French. Lieutenant Colonel Chris Ginn is with us all the way from California. Those of you in the room who are familiar with our hometown guy, Art House is here. Dr. Wanda Jones-Heath cheering for the Air Force. Luke Knittig. Luke's back there. Of course, our chair of Global Security Forum, Mike Muller. We have Rear Admiral Jacob Russo visiting us from Denmark. And we have Rear Admiral Michael Van Poots, who's recently taken command of the Underserved Warfare Center here in Connecticut. And General Garrett Yee, who was a superstar this year in getting so many of you here. And thanks to my colleagues also who came from California and Charlotte, World Affairs Council, so thank you guys for being with us. And a special, special thank you again to you, Chance, for being with us here tonight and sharing Paul with us all of these years. So everybody grab another drink, grab something to eat, and say hello. And a big shout out to Major General Yvonne and all of your support of the Connecticut National Guard. So thank you so much. Enjoy, everybody.